Oh man, we look like fucking headphone wearing dorks in this one. Welcome to Let's Play Axe Effects. This is Matt, and I'm here with my buddy Ira, who you may know from the Drunk Pedal Show, the only other show on this channel. Let's Play Axe Effects is the new show where we play with my Axe Effects, basically. I got the Axe Effects 3 recently, and we're gonna make some patches on it. I'm gonna show Ira some of the cool stuff it does, and then maybe we'll jam or whatever. Okay, so the Axe Effects 3 has a lot more power than the Axe Effects 2 did, and it also lets you independently route the 4 inputs and outputs. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna open up Axe Edit here. You're still limited by the number of amps. You can run 2 amps at a time. So what this basically means is you can have 2 separate guitar inputs going to 2 completely independent effects lines if you want to. And so we're gonna basically try that. See what happens. So how's it going, Ira?
It's going really good. Tell everybody how long you waited for this thing.
Oh yeah, no, I waited. Okay, so
saga. That was a.
They announced the Axe Effects 3 the day after NAMM, so I was like, well, that was a good NAMM show and like nothing I desperately needed to buy or anything. And then they're like, you know what you need is an Axe Effects 3. I'm like, oh shit.
Well, you've been an Axe Effects guy for.
Yes.
We talk about the Blues Junior the Third quite a bit, so you know, start off simple. Like, I'm a simple guy. What if you just like wanted a good Blues Junior sound or
there we go, Junior Blues.
Junior Blues.
All right, so we got a Junior Blues. Now let's see if they've got the speaker cab from the Junior Blues. Way more
Wow.
cab IRs now. Yep. Junior Blues. They had the actual Blues Junior.
Just the sheer number.
So these are all the different.
My God, my head is already starting to swim.
So let's just say, okay, they don't have the exact mic we use. We use an SM7 for Drunk Pedal Show, but let's do a 57. It's in the ballpark. Cool. It'll be a little different, but at least, you know, it's a familiar mic. Okay, so we've got a mic and a cab now. Mm-hmm. So. But this really sounds like in our usual ballpark.
I'm already starting to go, I want reverb.
Yeah. Well, okay, so, but here, I'll put back on the default reverb, and that'll probably sound a little more. Now, speaking of reverb, what if we make that well, it's a Fender amp. We should make it a spring reverb. All right, so that's pretty basic. There's now 4 channels per each block. So if we want to both play together,
right,
we're a little limited by, you can only run 2 amps and I think 2 cabs. No, there's 2 amps and 2 cabs, but the cab block lets you actually mix 4 cab IRs. So it's 1 cab block, but you can run 4 and then blend and mix them. And with the channels, you can switch between 4 different ones in the preset. Same for the amp. And you use scenes to change which effects are active. And now also which channels they're on. So you can change your, you can have 4 different amps lined up for your clean, dirty, solo, whatever, and you can just go nuts with it. Right, so let me show you. So let's say this is scene 1. Let's go to scene 2, put on the chorus. Now let's look at all these lovely chorus options.
Wow.
Now here's where we're starting to get the stereo effects.
Wow.
Now, okay, let's pick a chorus. So you've got 4 voice and, okay, so right now we're on analog stereo.
Well, I'm an 80s guy, so I see 80s style,
80s style?
Right there. So
all right, let's try the 80s style. Another one I really like that's also very 70s and 80s is the Japanese the CE2.
Go ahead, yeah.
Which, is a classic. Now that one's not stereo, but it is like, just a classic. So now if I save this, now if I go back to scene 1, it turns the chorus off.
Okay.
Okay,
all right.
so scene 2 has chorus, scene 1 doesn't. Now you can get way complicated with that.
All right.
But
Like, okay, for all my like Malcolm experience, if I want like a really big fucking Marshall stack to play my AC/DC shit, like what does it have in the way of like Marshalls?
Okay, a lot of variations of the same amp in here sometimes, and so it's sometimes tricky to narrow down the specific one. Okay, so oh, here we go. Plexi 100 watt 1970. That's probably
Beautiful.
the closest. All right. Now the amp settings for Malcolm. Now let me get the cab right, because that's going to sound weird until I do that. So a Marshall 1960B straight with vintage 30s. So let's do a 57. We're basing it on settings with his guitar, and it's a very different like pickup configuration coming in.
But you get the idea, you know.
Yeah. I mean, it sounds pretty good. It sounds pretty Marshall. Let's see if I can. Usually, I usually find that
Sorry about my playing.
blending a couple mics ends up sounding a lot better, because usually just like a 57, it's like, oh, you get a very narrow, and then people used to double track and all that shit.
Right.
Oh yeah, so Friedman's a good example, because there's basically the Friedman Brown Eye, the regular and high gain channels, and then there's like 4 different versions of it. Let's use the newest one. There's a 2018 version.
Newest gear for the newest thing.
Yeah.
Fuck, I've been playing combos all my life, man.
It's time for 4x12s. All right,
Yeah.
let me pick you one then.
I always cater my playing to the thing.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, the one thing that I'm the least compromising on, and it's transferred directly to Axe Effects, is the speaker cabinet. And I got a Mesa Boogie rectifier 2x12 back in the day that I swear by, and it was like used, and it was less than like $300. It was so cheap.
and beside the point, I've never been asked that question in my life.
Well, there you go.
It's like, what 4x12
Got to start
cab,
asking yourself those questions.
What 4x12 cab do you want?
What 4x12 do you need?
And my my brain just blanked out.
Well, and most people don't need a 4x12, and that's the thing. But so I had this great Mesa 2x12 that I swore by, and then at one point I was working at a music store, and I was able to get a deal, so I got a Mesa, the traditional 4x12. Now, it's not the oversized, it's the more traditional, but something about the wood and the construction of the Mesa cabs combined with Celestion Vintage 30s, plus there's like a specific version of the Vintage 30 that they get that I don't know if other people don't get, or I don't know if that's still a thing, but it wasn't when I bought both of these cabs.
Yeah.
And it definitely, anyway, so I have an amazing sounding 4x12 and amazing sounding 2x12, and whenever I can find a model of those cabs and they're both in there now, I'm set. And one of my new patches was with there's a new 2x12 in here now, and
Let's do that.
you want to try the 2x12?
Yeah.
All right, let's try that. Let's try my magical, because it's so many cabs. Oh yeah, you got to hear the JC 120 in a bit. We'll make that like scene, like channel 2 or something,
all right, yeah,
because that thing, and they used to not even. I used to have a hard time.
I wish I thought of the jazz chorus earlier.
It doesn't matter. It's not like there's no points for thinking of the coolest.
Because you're looking at these supermarket aisles.
Oh no, I know
of
it's
things,
so
and your
I can't.
Brain
You can't.
blanks out.
I honestly, I don't usually work from that direction. I think of something, and then I'm like, I'm pretty sure that's in there, right? And then I find it. And honestly, I stick to a handful of trusted favorites, and but the JC120 is one of them. There's just a whole slew of options for different mics and positions on the JC120 cab, and the speakers make a big difference on that, how that amp sounds. And the thing is, those Mesa cabs, I'll use them in the Axe Effects, I'll put them after any amp. It doesn't matter if it's a Mesa amp. Like, if for some reason the appropriate matched cab doesn't sound good, I usually swap in one of the Mesa cabs, and it's like, ta-da, perfect, I'm happy now. And it's ridiculous. All right, what was I gonna do? Okay, so I got the 57, and then I want, U70 will be good. All right, how's this guy sound?
This reminds me of like Dirtbag Charlie days.
Jailbreak. With a bullet in his back. All right, so first one. Okay, so our first
Yeah,
channel.
that's got some mojo to it. It just makes you, you know, it just makes you want to rock, man. It's like.
All right, let me bring the reverb back in, but I'm gonna switch it to a more subtle studio kind of deal. Nice.
It's got some soul to it.
Starting to come together. Starting to sound like a rig.
Yeah.
Alrighty, so let's make that the first scene. Keep it kind of simple.
Will that do the? That's very.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm already starting to feel that.
You know what I could? Oh, you know what would be cool on that though? Add a little flangey to that. Stereo flangey.
Back on. No.
Right?
Wow. Fuck.
Pretty cool, right?
Really good. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, let's try the JC120 with the Dimension chorus from the JC120. Oh, I should also run those cabs in stereo.
Wow. Nah.
I could just plug into Yo Rig. See what that's. Here. It's time for a dumble. That don't sound right.
It's an A, right? You might be able to find some theme music. The whole time I was playing, I was like, well, that's a theme.
Oh yeah.
That's like a theme song, you know, like.
Yeah, well, here, let's switch back to the first. We're only at 74% CPU, running two completely separate amp lines, and we are sharing a reverb, but reverb takes up a lot.
It's been a pleasure. My mind is blown.
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to give us a like. If you want to see more, subscribe to the channel. And, check out more videos on our playlists. Check out Drunk Pedal Show if you haven't. This is content.